I kind of want to come back to something that you said that it struck a chord with me, where you said you've always felt confident, comfortable, liked, secure. And I felt the same, even though I was going through stuff that in my head, I was like, I know this is challenging. And one of the stories that I tell myself and others is that I dealt with like minor bullying growing up. And I say that, and it wasn't intentional. It was the way that I was perceiving the way people were interacting with me. And a lot of it was due to me isolating myself. So there's definitely a big ownership thing that I now have realized that at the time I didn't. But even through all that, I still felt like my parents loved me, my family loved me. I had friends that I really enjoyed being around. And it's a compliment that I've even gotten from people like, you can deal with adversity pretty well.
Yeah, that's that resilience.
Is that something that comes very early on with that attachment? Because it sounds like you are almost living proof of that, where like you had this very wonderful upbringing. And then even when things turned to being the opposite of that, you still were okay with handling it to some degree, or maybe more capable.
Exactly. And yeah, that's what attachment research would show is that a strong attachment foundation can be developed in the first 3 years of life. And that foundation can stick with you the rest of your life. You can build on top of that foundation. Attachment is malleable, it can change. You can get more secure attachment, you can get less secure attachment. But the main things that really impact attachment in negative and positive ways is when you go through, like throughout your life, when you go through a negative life experience, do you have someone going through that experience with you? Are they helping you get through that experience, especially when you're a child? Are you doing it by yourself, or are you as an adult, a secure attachment figure adult helping you work through those feelings, helping you work through those things that you're thinking about? Are they actively helping you get through it? Right. So if you have a secure attachment foundation and then you have a negative life experience, like your parents getting divorced, most would call that a negative life experience. But you know people, everybody listening knows people whose parents were divorced and they are fine, quote unquote fine, right? They seem okay. And then you also know people whose parents are divorced and they are a puddle of a mess on the floor and they cannot hold a relationship. They are either scared of relationships because they never work out, or because they're not worth it, or they are obsessed with being in a relationship because they're trying to fulfill this void that they have inside of them. What happened with that first group of people? Well, somebody who was with them, either mom or dad or grandma, some secure attachment figure, was able to help them get through it. They didn't have to deal with their emotions alone. Now, does this mean that the people who are not okay, their parents were like, screw you, deal with it by yourself, or they were abusive or neglectful? No, that's not what it means either. But you have to understand what the negative life experience is doing to the adults as well, especially if the adults don't have a secure attachment or resilience. It's very hard for a mom or a dad who has divorced from their partner to put their feelings kind of on the back burner and deal with the feelings of a child when they themselves are so devastated, when they themselves don't have the coping skills to cope with it. And so it's not, I mean, are there times where kids are told, like, deal with it yourself, like, get over it? Sure, there are. And that's wrong. And we shouldn't do that.